Hey everybody, it's Crypto-Anarchist here, and I'm bringing you another video on cryptocurrencies. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the renaming of the denominations of Bitcoin Cash and why I think it needs to happen. And this is true for a lot of other cryptocurrencies. One thing that's sort of a problem with certain cryptocurrencies is if your fees are too high, you don't really want to denominate in low denominations or smaller denominations because then that makes the fees look really bad, and it's really bad from a marketing standpoint. So it's really good that Bitcoin Cash is super low fees, so making the denominations lower it's much better. Although even with Bitcoin Cash, I wish the fees were slightly lower. But anyways, that doesn't really matter. If we talk about the denominations right now, they're basically called bits and satoshis. That's what the two denominations in questions here. Now, the bits are supposed to be 100 satoshis, and a satoshi is the smallest unit that a Bitcoin can go, and I think it's 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin, something like that. The problem here with the names bits and satoshis is that it sort of sucks. They sort of suck. Satoshis it's a terrible fucking name. For the love of God, we cannot use the name satoshis because it's not marketable. Like, how much does that cost? 5 satoshis? I don't know. I really just hate the name satoshis. So what should be done is I think that they should rename bits to Bitcash and satoshis to bits. And the other thing that I think they should do is that they should adopt the $sign and the cent sign and just put it in the middle of the B and the H in the BCH for the Bitcoin Cash ticker to represent these. So if you're talking about how much Bitcash you own, which again, Bitcash would be equal to 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin, that would just be $H. That looks good too, and then you can, it's Bitcash. The other thing that's really good about calling this Bitcash is that you actually turn around, obviously the SegWit supporters, the SegWit soy boys, they always like to call Bitcoin Cash Bcash. Well, if you change the name of bits to Bitcash, then you can kind of turn that, I guess you could call it a marketing campaign or their propaganda campaign against them, because I've seen a bunch of people trying to say that we should accept Bcash and we should say that, you should either be cash or be gone. That's an okay marketing strategy, but if you want a good marketing strategy, you never want to give your competitors anything. So if you just rename it to Bitcash, it's almost like you accept, like, then when people say, oh, it's Bcash, you say, no, it's Bitcash, and you just correct them. Okay, and then the one good thing about that is that gets other people interested in it, and they're like, oh, the other side made a mistake. It's actually Bitcash. It's not Bcash. And even though, it's just sort of a marketing ploy. But anyways, that's sort of a minor reason for it. The main reason why you want this is because Bitcash, it's very easy to say. I've heard, when people say that we should have cash be the name for, 100 satoshis, I think that's a terrible idea because it's not very descriptive of what you're trying to pay with. Okay, maybe in the future it can be called cash, but at this point, Bitcash, it's very easy to say. It's 2 syllables. It rolls off the tongue really well, and it would make it very obvious what you're using. You're using Bitcash, okay? And if Bitcoin Cash is meant to be cash, calling it Bitcash, like if, I don't know, Satoshi called Bitcoin Bitcash a couple of times in the early days. Like before Bitcoin came out, he called it Bitcash. So I just think it's a great name. And I really love the way that $H looks. It just looks good. And then again, finally, the Satoshis should just be bits. If you have Bitcash and bits, like bits makes sense for a small unit of Bitcoin. It just makes sense. So just use bits. Move bits from being, 100 Satoshis to just being a Satoshi. And then again, use this symbol here, B $H. It's real simple. Although, to be honest, you almost never price things in cents. You never go to McDonald's and see them have on their little drive-through window, it never says the price of a Big Mac in cents. They say it in dollars. So, you probably won't actually use this symbol very much, but you can still have the symbol. The other thing that's really good about using these new denominations, and this is the reason why bits and satoshis was always like people have been pushing to use this in the first place, and again, I want it to be renamed Bitcash and bits, but at a global scale, if Bitcoin Cash is being used at a global scale, Bitcash will be worth about $1 and bits will be worth about 1 cent. So I got my first donations from my last video, and that was really cool. It's really nice to receive donations, and I think it was part of it too is because I think some people are a little, they've seen that Stefan Molyneux video where he goes off on somebody for only donating, $2. I don't give a shit if you donate to me 10 cents. Like, I really don't. Maybe if you're only donating 1 cent, it might not be worth it because at that point, like, the fee becomes close enough to what you're paying that it might not be worth it. So maybe don't donate 1 cent. Maybe just keep that. But that's only because, then it becomes close to the size of the fee. But I don't give a shit if you only send me 5 cents, 10 cents. I don't care, I'm not trying to make a huge amount of money off these donations. It's just that it's nice to see some sort of a response from it, from some of the videos every once in a while. And the other thing too is that when I got these donations, I got something like $3 a donation. It's not a whole lot, but the whole thing that's really cool about this is if you look at the number of Bitcash that I actually got, I got like 2,000 Bitcash. So if Bitcoin Cash becomes adopted globally, those donations that you guys gave me, even though it's worth almost nothing right now, it could be worth up to like $2,000, and that's insane if you think about it. That's absolutely insane. So that's sort of the, hopefully that happens. And the other thing too, though, is beyond this is a bit of information that we need to push out to newcomers. We need to say if this gets adopted globally, this is how much you're going to be worth, basically. So that was like $2, and that'll be, or it's like $3 now, but it could be worth $2,000 later on. And that's a pretty good return if it can be adopted globally, and then it sort of gets people of the understanding of, oh hey, if we can get this adopted globally, this is massive and I'll become massively rich, and then that gets them out there to spread and adopt it, and actually to create use cases for it, because they'll realize for themselves that, hey, if this is only if I only have to donate 50 cents to somebody else today, and it could be worth a lot for them later on, it doesn't take much from you as it doesn't take much of a financial sacrifice for you to help spread this sort of thing, I really think that's where a lot of this adoption can come from. The biggest thing that Bitcoin Cash actually needs is entrepreneurs to build things within the ecosystem. That's hard, and you can't expect everybody to just become an entrepreneur and be successful. Even from entrepreneurs, most things that entrepreneurs do, they fail at. So I'm not sitting here saying, if you can try and build something, you do try and build something for it. But if you aren't necessarily capable of building something right now, just try and introduce people to it and give them give them $1 or two, and that's all you got to do. Because one thing you got to remember is there's this rule of networks that the value of the network is equal to basically the square of the number of users. So the more people that just get involved in Bitcoin Cash, the more the value of it grows. Okay, and so the one thing that really makes Bitcoin BTC really stupid is they've been pushing the hold meme. You really don't want to push the hold meme. You want to get this spread and adopted. I'm not saying hey, donate everything you have to somebody else, but just remember when you're donating, remember that if Bitcoin Cash gets adopted at a global scale, 1/1,000,000th of a bit or Bitcoin Cash will be worth $1. Okay, so Bitcash will be worth $1, bits will be worth 1 cent. Okay, so that's what, when you're donating to somebody, think of it in terms of that price. Okay, give them a small amount. They might be $1 today, but just be like, hey, if this gets adopted globally, that could be $1,000 someday. So just keep an eye on it, be involved, and then that person who before had no stake in the Bitcoin Cash community, now who only has $1 or two in Bitcoin Cash, will still have a big stake in the success of the community because they want to see it succeed, because if it does, then they've just made a massive amount of money. And so then if it becomes adopted somewhere, they'll be more willing to use it and buy it and pay with it and things like that. Okay. But anyways, I think that the denominations should be changed. I think that the names that people are discussing, though, I don't think they're the greatest. Again, I think that bits, which is 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin Cash, should be renamed to Bitcash, and Satoshis, which is 1/100,000,000th of a Bitcoin Cash, should be renamed to bits. And I think that the symbols that should be used are those two symbols that I show below, because those just look good. From a marketing standpoint, I think it's stellar. It's beautiful. But anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be more coming out soon.